Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Games Blog Saturday review. Shuffle your deck of creatures and vegetable cards. Put the pile face down on the table and spread the cards out so everyone can reach them. And after explaining a handful of rules, you're ready to play a game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your beetroots by Andrew Beardsley and Peruz Shahriari from Stuff by Bess. Yes, it really is that simple. The rules are also very simple, taking less than a minute to explain. Everyone basically picks up a card with one hand and either adds it to the deck of cards that they held in the other hand, or they put the card back onto the table, leaving it face up. When you add a card to your deck, make sure it doesn't match the previous card in any way. The majority of cards are creatures with a combination of different numbers of eyes, arms, and legs. So putting a creature with 4 arms on top of a creature that also has 4 arms isn't allowed, even if the two creatures have a different number of eyes or legs. As long as all 3, the number of eyes, arms, and legs are different, you're allowed to add the card though. Vegetables, in this case beetroot, are like wild cards and can always be added to your deck, unless the top card on your deck is a beetroot. You're also limited to no more than 5 beetroot in your deck. If you don't want to add the card to your deck because it has matching features, then you just place it face up back on the table, at which point the card becomes available to everyone again. So it's possible you give someone else a card that they desperately needed, or you might be lucky and you can add the card to your deck a little later when you found a creature that you can add to your deck, for example. The game ends when everyone has stopped taking cards, and everyone can decide for themselves when they want to stop. Of course, you want to keep taking cards while you can, because the person with the most cards in the deck wins, provided their deck doesn't have 2 creatures next to each other with the same number of eyes, arms, or legs, and also doesn't have 2 beetroots next to each other. Actually, that's not quite true. Everyone who didn't mess up the deck wins, but the person with the most cards wins more than those who have fewer correct cards in the deck. So everyone wins, but only one person wins the most. We're all winners. Yes, it's all really simple, yet it's also really difficult. The number of times I was sure my deck was flawless, but it turned out that I had not one wrong pairing of creatures, but 2 in my deck, is crazy. After all, you're going as quickly as you possibly can, and after a while you can't see the wood for the trees. Or, more to the point, the legs for the arms, or the eyes for the legs, or, well, you get the idea. As you can imagine, the whole game is a lot of franticness. Grabbing cards, checking them, putting them back, taking another card, and so on. You need to also keep an eye out for cards that other players have put back face up, because one of them might be exactly the card you need to continue the deck, without having to rely on beetroot. If you've ever played a game from Stuff by Bess, then you know how wonderfully imaginative the games are, and how much love and positivity has gone into them. A game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your beetroots is no different, of course. The illustrations are wonderful, and the fact that this game is basically a deck of cards, its price is set accordingly. It's really affordable. It also means it's easy to take with you and play while you're out and about, as long as you have an average-sized table. It's dry and it's not too windy. As you probably know, I love games that are easy to carry, easy to explain, quick to play, and a lot of fun, and this game ticks all of those boxes. The best thing about a game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your beetroots is that you can mix multiple decks together if you want to play the game with more than 3 players. Alternatively, if you want a longer 2 to 3 player experience, then mixing 2 decks together is also an option. It's really up to you how many cards you think you can shuffle, how big your table is, and how many cards you can comfortably hold in your hand. So I can only say good things about this wonderful game by Stuff by Bess. Get yourself a copy and let the craziness ensue. Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games Blog Saturday Review podcast. Please check the description below for links mentioned in this episode, as well as to the written version of this article on the blog. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us some stars, or leave a review. Please also tell your friends about me, and if you want to offer financial support, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi pages, links to which you'll find in the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you again soon. This podcast was made possible by the generous help of my Patreon supporters. Royal Patrons Nicholas Higgins and Sean Newman. Magic Champion Zeb Hicks. Castle Guards David Miller and James Naylor. Dice Masters Alex Bardi, Paul Grogan and Robin Kay. And Shining Lights Gavin Jones, Sarah Reed, Richard Simpson and Tim Vernick.